So currently here in sneakers, there's a whole lot of drama, a lot of nasty business being exposed behind the scenes, which has been fueled by this whole Cool Kick situation where many people would accuse the popular resale shop, which is located on the West Coast, of selling fake sneakers. But according to a recent LAPD arrest, allegedly Cool Kicks, they were caught up in a little situation where apparently they were caught up trying to purchase some stolen goods. Now, whether they knew the products, the sneakers, the clothing were stolen or not, that's kind of up for the courts to kind of settle that outcome. But my guess is we're probably gonna see a lot of skeletons, pop out from that entire situation, which it also brings up the whole cargo theft situation where people are hitting up these trains, stealing millions of dollars worth of Nike products. These sneakers are being sold early ahead of the official release date. Remember earlier this year, we also had StockX being sued, accused of selling fake products, which there's a lot of shady business being exposed right here in sneakers, but there also is one common denominator behind everything, which happens to be Nike and their brand integrity, which is no secret right now that Nike's in this big kind of turnaround phase, right? There's no other clear indicator than the fact that Nike brought in a brand new CEO, this guy, Elliott Hill. This is a dude which had a proven track record at the company. All right, so I'm over here editing the video. How come nobody pointed out the fact that this dude, Elliott Hill, Nike's new CEO, bruh, this dude looked like Harrison Ford or something like that. How's Nike gonna hire Indiana Jones to fix all their problems? Like, this dude literally looks like a paid actor or something like that. Like, Nike got George Clooney over here trying to solve all their problems, trying to say all the right answers, but nah, let me stop, man. Enough, let's get back to the video. Which he's had this title of CEO for about a year now, right? He took over for this dude right here, John Donahoe, which this is a tech dude, right? His background, he came from eBay previously before working at Nike. And remember, his big plan was for Nike to kind of remove a lot of their products from the wholesale partners. We're talking about places like JD Sports, Foot Locker, opting to try to sell everything direct to consumer, trying to push more sales directly through the sneakers app, which this is a move which turned out to be great. This was during the pandemic when the demand was at an all-time high. People were stuck inside just trying to buy up as many shoes as they could possible. But after the pandemic, once things opened up, this turned out to be a move that backfired, right? Because remember, he removed all these products off the shelves at stores, which what they did was they just replaced these Nike products with other brands like Adidas, New Balance, Hoka, On Cloud. This is a move which turned out to backfire. It cost this dude, John Donahoe, his job, which then brings us over here to Elliott Hill, which I mentioned. He's had this CEO title for about a year now, which it looks like Nike stock over the last year has dropped by around 12%. Although he does have a new plan, which he's implemented, it looks like there is no timeline for tangible results to kind of have a clear indication of how Nike's gonna turn around. Now, as far as his new plan, we've talked about it previously. He calls it an offensive strategy where rather than breaking down teams over at Nike, dividing them up by men's, women's, and kids, he's breaking up teams, dividing them up by sports, which has kind of like a performance-derivative initiative, which is a great move, I think. On top of that, he's also raised prices, which data indicates that online footwear price increases have risen by about 17% over the last year. And then for apparel, it has risen by around 14%, which they're saying it's a clear sign that the brand is prioritizing full price sales to reverse a period of heavy discounting and slumping sales, right? So when we talk about price increases, we already saw some happen earlier this year, which affected Nike as well as Jordan brand products. And we can also expect to see some more price increases popping out coming up this holiday season. Now, when you talk about price increases, of course, this always is normal. We always see prices increase due to inflation. But as far as another factor, which is determining some of these price increases, something that nobody really could have predicted, you have government issued tariffs, which Nike originally predicted or projected that tariffs would affect their bottom line for the fiscal year of around $1 billion. But according to their first quarter earnings report, it looks like those tariffs will actually affect Nike's bottom line more so around $1.5 billion. So that's a pretty chunk of change, all just affected due to the fact of these new government issued tariffs. So a lot of people would blame the price hikes for the tariffs, but I kind of have another theory about the price increases. Remember that phrase I mentioned earlier in the video, brand integrity? Nike kind of wants to create that illusion that their products are the best on the market, which of course they're trying to sell everything at full prices. Now let's just say, for example, you go out and buy a brand new pair of Air Jordans, right? you purchase those for like $200 plus, only for you to hit social media, say like a week after the release, and you got somebody on Twitter bragging about they got them very same Jordans, where they paid like half the price that you paid. Now, how does that feel for you guys when you talk about brand integrity? Are you gonna go out and be quick to buy another pair of Jordans at full price when you know that you could just wait it out and probably get them joints on sale at a later date, or maybe even under retail via the secondary market, right? When you talk about Nike's new strategy, it does say that so far it is proving that like they are making some type of strides. When you talk about in running sales, they got the Pegasus, some new cool running models here hitting the scene. But as far as overall, Nike stock is still down. And when you talk about these early shoes hitting the market, I feel like at the end of the day, it kind of affects Nike's bottom line, which I feel like they're cracking down on this, which is why you're seeing the big arrest with Cool Kicks. Nike is cracking down on the stolen products. People are hitting up freight trains. They're trying to crack down on that because they got millions of pairs hitting the streets early, which affects the resale market. It affects the integrity of the product, and overall Nike, they just want to put a stop to it. Let's not also forget about fake shoes. Nike, they cracked down on StockX. They're accusing them of selling fakes. And I feel like the next place that Nike's gonna move into are for these like backdoor deals. Remember how Nike had to open up their wholesale relationships? Well, this also left them more vulnerable for early backdoor deals. Remember, they're selling their products a lot more at retailers like JD Sports, Finish Line, but on top of that, they're also opening up the doors with more of the mom and pop shops, the smaller places, which I feel like, in order for these places to keep the lights on, the only thing they can do is resort to backdooring. So with all these early pairs hitting the streets early, it's affecting Nike's bottom line. I see them cracking down on it. Remember years back, we didn't see this happen until Nike had to kind of build back these wholesale relationships, which I feel like is a direct consequence of now these early bulk shoes hitting the streets ahead of the drop. So if Nike's cracking down on the stolen pairs, they're cracking down on the fake pairs. I feel like the next thing that they're gonna crack down on are these early bulk deals, being sold from some of their wholesale partners, backdoor deals ahead of the release date, because it's just, these people are able to sell these shoes under retail. It's affecting the resale market, the bottom line, which Nike, they ain't having it. So let me know what you guys think about this, man. Drop your feedback down below, JATV. I appreciate everybody. If you guys enjoy the content, consider subscribing. Come along for the journey. I'll catch you guys next time. In the meantime, stay safe, stay blessed. I'm out, y'all. Love.